Hello, everyone. How you doing?
Hello.
Sorry, I'm a little late today. Just finishing an interview, giving an interview. I always feel like I have to clarify just in case people are like, just during my work time, like taking interviews. um, okay, cool. So I think we might be able to end a little early today. There's a couple proposals in the pipeline. I but the like point of contact for each is either basically there's either like an additional step that we're waiting on external or just they weren't ready or didn't have time to present today. There's a couple that we can go through and knock out that are like a little bit legacy, and then there's a couple that we can just get a quick update on where they're at that are more recent, and then go from there. So yeah, before we get started, does anyone have any ad hoc topics that they'd like to bring up? Okay, let me pull up. Let me share my screen and then I'll. Okay. Cool. So let's start from the top. This one is, I think, I kind of wanted a presentation from this community member, more so just to give like a face and context to the TSC specifically. But I've been like interacting me and Scott a little bit, and overall it seems like a great path forward, where we're having someone with experience managing communities of people, especially in open source, working on clarifying the contributor guide, which was written mostly as targeting like already onboarded Facebook devs. So I think for this, this feels like an easy vote that we can take now and say like this seems like the right direction. And the only and then I can just continue like providing shepherding as the PRs get added. So yeah, does anyone have any hesitations with this overhaul of the contributing guide before we vote? Okay, cool. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, passes. Accepted. Cool. And I'm going to leave it open for now because it looks like there's still some discussion. Cool. So this, I've provided some clarifying questions on. And the root of this proposal is actually Arun. I messaged Arun and he says he doesn't have bandwidth this week, so we will punt this one to 2 weeks from now. The general idea here is, as best I can tell, merging the Python, or basically the orchestrator module within the FEG and access gateway images, which is the domain agnostic Python code, since those are the same across the different gateways. Okay, let's see. This is still in progress, or sorry, this one is separate from the release versioning. To me, this feels like a subset of something that Aswin wants to do, which is providing a top-down description of the release process. So this is still in progress. I went ahead and added a needs design doc to indicate that we're waiting on that for Aswin. So no actions here. This one we are waiting on a presentation for how other LF LF groups use Confluence, and the idea being we'll have some proposals first to one of the meetings later this week, and then it'll come back to the TSC for final approval in 2 weeks.
Yes, that I want to get the feedback from the DevOps team also on that. So that's why I want to move it first for this Thursday and to get a feel for what the DevOps team thinks about it, and then present it on the next TSA.
Awesome, sounds good. Okay, so then to me, we can vote on this one. This one, and let's see. This one is still in pro, and then these three, I'm looking for whether we can clean up and what they're older. So we'll go in order. This one is experimenting with a Golang access gateway. Right now it's experimental, and so I would rebrand this as like a public, like a community like announcement. That's the plan, but not even like a towards an access gateway, a Golang access gateway yet, because it's still very much experimental. So I don't think this needs a vote at this point. But if anyone feels differently, maybe Marie or Scott in particular, do you have thoughts on whether we should try and push this toward a like into like a towards this is the future, or should we defer for another month or two until it's out of like completely experimental phase?
Well, I guess it's a question of whether this is this proposal to acknowledge that the experiment is going on, or is it to decide how the experiment turned out? And I kind of, well, I guess I would say this is more like, hey, there's an experiment going on. This is going to enter our code base, and we're okay with that.
Cool.
Do you see it as more of a decision?
Yeah, to me it felt no, like you were saying, it feels like more of here's an announcement of this experiment that's occurring.
Yeah.
To me, this doesn't need a vote. It's like if it's, as long as things are experimental, that's like okay, especially if it's experiments managed by code owners. Then if it's managed by a code owner, it doesn't need.
Yeah. So I would just say we either vote or don't, but I'd say we add the label of semantic of we're accepting it, right?
Sure. Let's just vote then for completeness. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so this one is something that touches multiple components, but in particular is being implemented at the orchestrator, and went through a couple of rounds of discussion, and we have come to the point of, from like the code owner's perspective, we'll go ahead and move forward with this. So for the other, this would be an initial example of deferring of the TSC deferring decisions to a particular set of code owners. And so in this case, this was something that me, on the orchestrator's behalf, Oriel on the Federation/FEG behalf, and Mark as sort of a root code owner have talked through. And come to the conclusion that this is the path we want to move forward with. So then the TSC then becomes the point of serialization for that. So does anyone have any dissenting or clarifying questions, either on this in particular or on that code owner style process? Cool. Okay, let's take a vote then. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And for this is one of the recorded meetings where we can discuss briefly like what this is being done, we used for, maybe a very brief about that. I think you have enough context to kind of give a
so I don't have enough context to off the top of my head give an exact description of why we need this, but of the overarching thing, but the general idea is we're trying to have some domain or some centralized-ish TEID management. And there's a couple different proposals for how we should do that. And the easiest in terms of dev effort is we need a way to provide the affordance of a TEID, like what would you say, repository, or like a managed set of TEIDs that you can lease out and then reclaim. And so the easiest way to do that is through the state service that is at each access gateway and at the orchestrator. Right now, that actually is how we implement things. The orchestrator figures out the active TEIDs based on what's reported through the state service from the access gateways. The issue with that is, so we can provide the lease on a TEID, but we can't reclaim it because we don't currently support taking any action upon whenever the state service indicates that a piece of state has been deleted. Nothing happens. So this was originally part of the original design of the state indexers pattern at the orchestrator, where we say we just do our best, we'll index things. But TEIDs have a limited ID space, namely it's 32 bits. So it becomes an issue given that over time we can provide a lease on every TEID in the space, in the ID space, and then we would run out of TEIDs. So the easiest proposed solution is both lease and reclaim the TEIDs based on reporting that the TEID is no longer in use at the access gateway. Any additional context, Scott?
No, I think that's good.
Cool. So then I think let's go ahead and take a vote. So all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, accepted.
Aye.
Cool. Okay, so then these three are unclear what status they're in. I will message Gail directly on Slack.
So Gail's no longer on this project, and I was looking at this, and I'm unclear on the status of it as well. Is there anything that I need to do on this?
Let's do this. I'll check in a DM right after this, and we can figure it out.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, sounds good. Okay, Scott, Tech Debt Week process documentation. How are we doing with that? I noticed that it says needs design doc. Is this something that is like under active development or is merged already? Or where are we at?
Sorry, one more time.
So, so where are we at with the Tech Debt Week documentation? It looks
so
like
I did
something
commit.
got merged.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yeah, so this has been merged. I think that there was like some lessons learned and we haven't applied that, but I think we can close this.
Okay, close it as accepted then, historically accepted.
Yeah, it's it was as run.
Gotcha. Cool. Let's see. All right, easy. All right, and CI metrics to track master branch behavior. Scott, this also was opened by you and has a needs design doc. Any updates on where we're at with this one?
It's still needed. I would say it's like, I think we don't have a solution that I'm happy with or that anyone's happy with. In fact, it just came up recently for Tariq again.
Yeah,
is interested in tracking telemetry, and I think it's something he might be looking into as part of the CI refactoring effort.
okay.
I think the best solution we have in this is, documented, is to like create an event store database and push results from each of the master merges to it.
Yeah.
But that's like a definite overhead on like standing up these facilities and managing them.
Yeah.
So
Should I then, what are your thoughts on next steps? Should we assign it to Tariq? Should we accept it as like, or should we change it to a towards and accept, or should we just leave it for now and revisit it in a couple of weeks?
if I could relook at I'm trying to see if I actually proposed or if I simply left it as this is a problem, here's a couple options. Yeah, so here's the problem, here's a few options.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how to leave a proposal that does, I guess it wasn't officially a proposal yet.
Well,
so I'd be fine with either closing it as like rejected or removing the proposal label, or I mean, we can always find it and revive it.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
let's say decline or whatever the rejected and close it for now.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we can do that. And with the idea that we can reopen it.
Yeah.
I think there's an abandoned, and so we can do that with the idea that we can take it back up. I'll also tag Tariq in this. But I'll figure that out offline. Okay, cool. So that was all the proposals I wanted to get through. And we finally now have a nice manageable set of proposals, I'd say, with next action items for each of them. So that's good. The last thing in terms of explicit action items that we had from previous meetings is for me to make progress on identifying like the specific TLs, but like externally facing, so that's communicated to the community for the purpose of like, so that not everything has to go to through the TSC, because as we mentioned, or as it's become clear, like Magma is a big enough project that the TSC can't manage everything itself, and also it wasn't like designed to do that when the set of TSC members was chosen originally. So yeah, I will make some progress on that this week, and then I'll probably turn that into a proposal, and then we can go from there. Okay, that was all I had in terms of grooming the proposals backlog. Anything else from anybody else, and then we can move toward the ending. Cool. All right, sounds good. Thanks everyone. Jessica, looking forward to that MCF confluence proposal in 2 weeks, and then yeah, other than that, great job everyone, and see you then.
Right.
Thank you.